All right then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Zay's World channel. It's Zay and Chris here, and today we have a long-awaited, and we mean long-awaited because it has been, 3 years now since season one, but we are going to give you guys our report card review of Squid Game 2. Man, it has been a while since the first one came out. It seems like the whole world's been different since the first one came out because that was such a big boom of attention on Netflix when this came out. But we finished Squid Game 2 about a couple days ago, maybe like a week ago actually, and we just wanted to give you guys our thoughts, what it was like. We'll make some comparisons to, of course, the first season, and then you already know we'll give our thoughts and expectations and what we want to see out of a third season, because we both know that we'll be getting a third season out of this. So let me go ahead and tell you guys the plot and the storyline real quick. So 3 years after his victory in the games, Seong Gi-hun embarks on a mission to dismantle the games from within by re-entering the competition. This time he has the support of Wi Ha-Joon, who is attempting to infiltrate the island from the outside. However, the front man has clever strategies in place to ensure that the games persist. Now, let's just go ahead and speak about plot and storyline wise of the actual second season, because after we finished the first season, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really know what direction they were going to go in next. So now that we have finished the second season, Chris, what are your thoughts on how the plot and the storyline went for this second season of this highly anticipated show?
It was definitely a lot slower, but I think the only reason why we find it to be slower is because Squid Game, whenever we first saw it, was so new and it was so like gruesome and it was cruel. So it was like, in this one, it's like, how do you upstage that? How do you upscale that? So I feel like the plot and storyline, it was good. It still was, it was definitely continuous. Continuous. It was definitely continuous though, because it did still have the same the recruiter. It still had the same recruiter, still had the same main characters, even brought back 456, his friend, brought him back too. So it was nice to see the continuity of it all. Like I said, it was just a lot slower. Like the first 3 episodes were a bit slow because it was kind of like, okay, well, like episode 2, the Halloween party. It was just, okay, well, we clearly know that they're gonna outsmart you because look at how hard it took for you to even get the recruiter. So it was kind of like, definitely a game of cat and mouse. So It was a little, like I said, it was definitely a little bit slower, but overall I feel like the storyline of it still, like I said, because it's continuing, I have to kind of, season 2 was kind of like not mid, but it was like, okay, it's continuing from season 1, so season 3 has to be it has to upscale that
Almost
even more.
monumentous, almost like a great conclusion of it. I would definitely say for a second season, the plot and the storyline, yes, I think you hit it on the head. I think it did have its moments of being slow in the beginning, specifically, but I will say that they did, the one thing that the plot and the storyline does is that I think that they still found a way to give us some hard-hitting emotional moments, and you made me care more about player 456 more in this one than the first one. Like, of course you wanted him to win in the first one. This one is, we are with him like arm in arm throughout this competition. Like, we want to see you actually dismantle it, and I like how by the end we got to see that it's not so easy to do that. It's not, you can't just do it in 7 episodes. It takes, you can tell that this is a really big task to take this out, especially from the inside. I really like the storyline.
One thing I will say about the storyline though, that did kind of fall, and me and you had agreed on this earlier after we first saw it, was the military, kind of like the men that were recruited so that they could, find the arena itself on the island. That was a little bit kind of dragging the series just a little bit. I think it was just because of the fact that it was like getting you away from the games, and it's like, no, we kind of just want to see 456. We want to see what him and his friends are doing. We want to see what's actually going on with him. We want to be back in those games. We want to see the action, whereas like, they're trying to kind of search, and then it was kind of like, you had already guessed it, how like me and you had said, like, the captain of the boat, we kind of already knew he was kind of sly, and we already knew he was kind of too, because it's like, how come after all this time you've been traveling these waters and it's like with the same one, like you can tell like the games are so much smarter. So it's just like after all these years you haven't found the island, and then of course then that random man that died on the boat. That was jacked up too. I was like, but once again you're doing too much. You're talking too much.
Funny. That kind of came out of nowhere.
So, but like some of the times that they were showing them, it was kind of like because I did like his parts the first time because it was just him. He was doing it solo. He was trying to find his brother.
You mean Wi Ha-Joon? Yeah, the brother.
Yeah.
Of the,
so
the
so literally the recruit, or not the recruiter's brother, but the 001's brother. So it's like, the first time it kind of like seeped in a little bit but like I said, we were seeing so much brutality during those times, so it's like, okay, we get a little break from it, as opposed to now where it's like, oh, like I want to go back to it because it's not as bad and I kind of already know what to expect. So it's like I want to see how 456 is doing, and it's like ultimately, like the military stuff, and then even like one of them dying, I was just like, dang, that's messed up. But it was just like, it's kind of it's like it was just dragging just a little bit.
I would say that since the expectations are so high for such a different show such as this one, did it reach? We'll get into it if it reached our expectations and what we're searching for. But like I said, plot and storyline wise, they still tried to give you a fresh take of the games, because there are new games in here, which I'm very happy about, that we just didn't do the exact same games. And there are different stakes, and the characters that we see in this, which we'll get to in a minute, they do give another layer of relatability and also like fear of like, I don't want some of these people to die in this game or to perish in this game, but I do want to see them. I did like seeing an insider's take into the game, and I think that that's what we really wanted to see. I think that we wanted to see a different perspective of the games, something from the inside out. It's not just going to be the exact same thing. There is a member of the actual games that runs it, and so it kind of has like a soft opening of she's essentially like a mascot, and she runs into, and a little girl ends up seeing her, and then the dad ends up,
she's number 11.
Yeah, she's number 11. She's one of the triangle people. Yeah, she's one of the triangle people who ends up working in Squid Game. And I think that for me, I really wanted to see, okay, what does it look like on their side? Yeah. Because we spent the whole first season seeing what it was like.
And that would have been a nice replacement for the military stuff.
And I don't think we got enough of the inside take of it, but maybe it's because you're saving it for the third season, and if that's the case, then hey, that's understandable. But I would say that the weakest part of the storyline is the lack of attention and depth that was given towards the investigation to find out where the island is. It almost felt like a spin-off. It just felt misplaced, and it kind of goes in, and we're going to bleed into the pacing and the timing of it. It just, the first season was 9 episodes. This one was 7. You can feel that it's 7 episodes. I feel like if you wanted to expand more on the investigation of the island, you needed at least another episode in there. At least give me 2 episodes of it. But let's go on to the pacing and the actual, the pacing and the timing of it. Like we said, they didn't showcase enough things that we would like to see. But I will say this with the pacing and the timing. There might have been too much attention put on the voting aspect. I think upon first watch, it was tense to see them vote, because the very first season of it, they did vote to leave, and they did leave, and then they came back, which I think is what hooked me in, because I was like, oh, you really are desperate for this money. Like, instead of you get trapped in there, it's you have free will. This time, I think they might have hammered it too hard, too many times. I think you could have replaced one of the voting.
456's character so much.
I know, but I think we could have. Not like it was an excuse to get the exposition to kind of catch up everybody in the competition, with 456 being the one who won it before. But I do think that we could have replaced one of the voting sessions with another game, or even like a game maybe getting cut off. But that's just my personal preference. But I will still say, for the pacing and the timing of it, once we got back in there, it was just, I don't want to say it was fun, but it's such a refreshing feeling, because like we said, we haven't seen anything like this before. So when you see it again, like, you see the beds, you see the tall towers in there, you see like the little, like the paintings on the wall of them falling, and it's kind of reminiscent of the games, and and even the characters. It's nice to kind of see them all together. but I do think that it took about 3 episodes for us to get back in there. You see the money pig, you see the money fall into there, and I do like how pacing wise they did take their time to show us these new characters and their reactions to this money. I think they went much more in depth with how much each person needed and why. You know,
I remember this time if they had left, they actually left with money.
And I like that aspect because it really made you think, should I leave right now with the 20 million? You know, just one more game. I thought that was really, really good that they ended up putting in there. But it did bleed into the characters themselves, specifically Thanos' character, Player 230. You know who we're talking about, purple hair. You know, I think he really had a lot of good moments in here. But him being the rapper who was also mad because another character had kind of
333.
Yeah, that 333 kind of told him in a YouTube video, hey, you know, like you should bet on this Dogecoin and on this coin, and then it didn't work out. And I think it makes it relatable and modern, because how many times have we seen that with, you know, just normal everyday things now, like people pumping money into a certain crypto market and then pulling it out only to screw over the people that were underneath it. It's interesting to see that they took that aspect and they put it in here because you modernized it. It's not just people, I was behind on my car payment, or I took out all these loans. It's like modern day things that I think really shape together the games. It kind of shaped them together stronger here, of that desperation of, I really need this money, like, and I'll literally do anything to get this money. And so I think it contributed well towards the pacing of it. But I was hungry to see the very first game. I was waiting. I was like, let's get into the first game. And of course, the first game being red light, green light, I liked how we kind of not rushed through it, but since it was 456's second time in here, I like that they took a different approach to it. Him just kind of finding out loopholes of the game, like covering his mouth so that he wouldn't, so that he can talk to everybody and tell them don't move, only for it to backfire. And of course, once somebody gets killed, or once somebody gets offed or taken out, it eventually ends up backfiring again, because they just end up running against each other and they end up getting, murked off one by one. But I do like how the things that any person would watch the show think, if they were put in these games again, the show found a way to incorporate it. Like, how do we really try to protect these people as much as we can? And like I said, it was really interesting for the pacing and the timing of it. But there were some slow moments, especially I think with the recruiter. I was interested when they were trying to get the recruiter, like when they were doing the investigation of like, hey, I'm gonna pay all you people to go to these subway stations and just try to find. That's really interesting because it feels like a manhunt. It feels like you're trying to recruit the poor people. No, I'm actually going after you. I like that in terms of what it was. And of course, like we said, spoilers, so I've been spoiling it. But rest in peace to the recruiter. They played a little game of Russian roulette with the one bullet in the gun. And I like how at the end of the day, of course, like Gi-hun kind of spun it back on him of just letting him know, like, you're their lapdog. And I like that. I really like that he's fighting back against them and he doesn't feel hopeless and powerless. And that doesn't make us feel hopeless and powerless in his position. You can tell that 456 had a lot of power, but once he got in the game and his tracker that they put in his tooth was taken out, it brought him back to like, oh, like we're one step ahead of you. And we haven't even gotten to the big twist that they kind of paced themselves out with, which is of course the front man being introduced. But I'll let Chris, you tell me what you thought about the pacing and the timing of it, and then tell me what you thought about the front man being thrown in there as number one this time.
Whenever you had said you didn't like the voting, I liked the voting because it showed how cruel people are, how some people were begging them, I just want to go home, this is enough for me, and how some people were like, that's not enough for me though. Yes. And it showed how selfish they were. So I liked it because yes, it did kind of drag a little bit, but ultimately, I did like how they showed that because it showed like just like 333 and then his girl. Can you go down? 333 222. So it's literally like I liked how it showed both of them because 222 was pregnant. So it's literally like with 333, the cryptocurrency guy. It was like how the difference of them. Like, she was like, I'm ready to go, and then plus she has a child to think of. So, you know, she just came to these games probably thinking, I'm going to get some money. I didn't know I was going to die. Great. Now I can't just think for me. I have to think of my child as well. And then all for 333 to literally know that she's pregnant and still choose to stay there, but then kind of go, oh, well, actually, no, because after he had found out that she was pregnant, he had voted no from then forward, even though, like, you know, they were threatening him, saying, you know, you're going to pick just one more game, right? But it's just like I said, I liked how it did the voting. Okay. Whenever it comes to the pacing and timing, I just like, I don't know. So, on to the next.
Yeah, hey, it is what it is. It was 7 episodes, but, you know, I just felt like it generally could have been a little bit longer. But I do like how they found a way in 7 episodes to, in my opinion, give me more characters that I did. Give me characters that I cared about more.
Oh, you did ask me to talk about the... You asked me to talk about the front man.
Yes, the front man as well. That they gave us characters to care about and characters to be worried about. So give me your opinion of kind of how we handled this, because this is a flip of the first season. In the first season, the number 1 of the old guy, we found out at the end he was a part of the games. Mm-hmm. In this season, they flipped it and they said, no, from the beginning, we're going to let you know that the front man, who is the brother of
the police officer
of the detective, that he's going to be number 1 in the game. How did you like that? Because we knew it from the beginning, so we kind of it's kind of like watching a disaster happen. So.
I mean, it was okay, but I definitely prefer the former, only because I like the shock of it, as opposed to us knowing right away. But like, the frontman is cruel, like how he was playing with them in the games. And how, like, you know, he was just, like, trying to make him, he's hyping 456 up to make him feel powerful, whenever it's really in reality, like, 456, you don't even know. Like, that's what sucks. And then even at the end, because me and you I called at the end whenever he ends up, like, killing the people whenever he does this whole, you know, brigade to take it down. It's literally like, damn, like, we know, like, you think this man's really on your side, but he's not. Like, and that's so cruel, but it's like, it is showing us, like I said, this one was kind of just, like I said, showing the ins and outs of, like, I think what it was trying to do in season 2 was trying to show the ins and outs of so many different pieces. It's like, let's show someone on the outside trying to find it. Let's show someone in the game again. Let's show someone that's in the game that's actually owns the game. Let's actually show the people that are actually killing the people in the game. It had so many different aspects to where it was just like, damn. But like I said, I don't mind the front man being in there, because it's like, we know, but I do prefer the former, just because, like I said, I like the shock of it. But I'm
a little bit different. I'm the opposite.
It does suck, because it's like, like I said, I already know I don't get attached to none of these players, because I already know anything's bound to happen.
Well, you learned from the first season. You learned not to get attached to.
So I just made sure not to. And plus, I'm pretty sure everyone. And plus, they're rooting on that, because that's why they're toying our heartstrings with this, because it's like, they already know. Oh, these people already know. Don't get attached to nobody, because odds are they're probably gonna die, right? So it's like, let's have something else in there for them, so that it's like we can still pull at those heartstrings. But it's like 456, I mean, like I said, they're too far ahead. And ultimately, him with the whole 2 thing, him realizing, it was like, come on, like, you really thought, come on, 456, we've got to do better. You should have said something up your ass, to be honest, because there's no way that they're gonna find you.
That's crazy. But I do think that, for my opinion of the front man, how they executed it, I preferred this, because it's cruel, but it's also, like you said, it's a game of cat and mouse. But for this one specifically, the front man playing with the emotions of 456 is a nice juxtaposition of them too, because you can tell, like, beginning and the end, the first person who's in this game and the last person who gets selected in this game, someone's trying to dismantle it, the other one's trying to keep it up. And I like how they kind of they don't go back and forth, because they never, like, argue, but their ideologies are shown. And you said that throughout, whenever they were voting, whenever they are the same, they just see different sides of the coin of, you know, of the front man just trying to show them, you see how desperate these people are to do anything. You know, how you can't save everybody, you can't change everyone's opinion. There's always going to be people who are willing to do whatever to get money, to get themselves out of a situation. And it's like, but but it's also like the front man questions him of like, that's interesting that you won and now you're back here. Like, I like how he used that against him, especially when they got to the episode of Six Legs, when they were doing, in my opinion, one of the best games. I really liked that game when they were all, walking together, shackled, and they had to do the 5 games individually. I like how the front man would tell him, like, I'm confident because we've got you, because you've won before. Just like you said, empowering him, giving him life, but in reality, only to stab him in the back. And he still doesn't know. And for him to look at him in his face with that mask on, and then to shoot his best friend to teach him a lesson. Yeah. And 456, you still don't know who this is, because the front man made him believe like, oh, he perished in the process of this raid to get it. I like it. I like that it was this strategy, and at the end of the day, he's one step ahead of you. And I like that with an antagonist. You want the antagonist to feel smart. You want them to be one step ahead, so that when he does get taken down, it's a big deal. Because like I said, when they were almost to the control room, it felt like an epic finale, only for, no, you're not close. Like, you're farther than you thought you were to figuring this out. But just wanted to give my quick thoughts on the front man. We wanted to get into the characters a bit. There's a bit of them, but we want to get into the big heavy hitters of the characters. I think we should address the elephant in the room, if not probably my favorite character. If this character is controversial to you, that's your opinion, but in my opinion, I really like how they executed Park Sun-hoon, character of Player 120. Yeah, but
we will not be saying the names correctly, as we are not.
It's fine. Everybody knows Korean. That by now. But Player 120, of course, being the.
I'll just be saying the player numbers.
Yeah, but of course, being Player 120, being a transgender character, which of course we know that there are certain agendas and boxes that have to be checked for certain shows. This was done really well. This was done very tastefully as well, and it bleeds into the storyline because, they just wanted to feel accepted, and they didn't even get to finish their surgery and operation. And so, I like the emotional impact of they put them right in front of our faces in the beginning, and as the episodes went on, Player 120 never seemed weak to me. They always seemed like a strong leader and someone who was willing to take charge all the way up until the end when they grabbed the gun, and they were ready. They were ready to go out and face everybody. But I like how throughout the episodes we got to learn more about them, how other people would treat and or interact with them, and then of course just seeing her leadership, just seeing how she was able to take over the games and really become a very powerful force. But I was very happy with how it was done. Like I said, it didn't seem like it was thrown in there just to meet a quota. It seemed like these are all different types of people. Doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, what your pronouns are. If you need money, you need money, and you're going to do what needs to be done to either pay the bills, or in this case, to finish your operation and to feel more accepted by yourself within. So I really did like how that was executed. How did you think Player 120's character was presented, as we've seen transgender characters presented in media before? Do you think it was done tastefully? Do you think it was shoehorned in?
I think it was done really well, because like we could feel for her and actually like see her for her just trying to live her life. She wasn't trying to hurt anybody. She wasn't trying to impede herself on anybody, especially how she handled, the mom of this season, and how they were talking to each other, it's like, and even the mom realized she's just a girl, like, or she's just someone who just wants to be loved, someone
Player
who
149.
She's just being herself, and it's like we shouldn't have to look at them as if there's something different, or we're still all human at the end of the day. But I did like her. She was very strong. She was ready to go out, like set it off. She's ready to set it off. And I liked how her strength and her kindness as well. She never, even at the very beginning with unfortunately the player that ended up dying in the run game, whenever they had to pick the number was chosen on like the merry-go-round or whatever. That was sad for her to have lost, because 333 once again homing people, but it was sad and disheartening for her to see, because that was the first person in the game who actually like chose her, like yes. She goes, what's your name, because she had probably felt alone as well, and so it was nice and very it was very well thought out and done, and it wasn't forced in our face of like, this is like, you know, who she is and everything, and like, we want you to know, we're gonna harp on it. It's like, no, they did it very throughout the episodes. They showcased her, all of her strengths, even showcased some of her weaknesses too, and then even how she had killed at the very end where they had to kick the ball 5 times on the like 6 legs. You know, it was just like I said, it always showed, like, you know, it showed her for, she just wanted to be seen as someone who was herself. She is a strong woman. So
and the military history as well, I think that was a great little throw in when 456 was ready, when the plan was executed to take the guards as guns. And then he was trying to, and then of course it was the transgender character kind of like telling them, this is how you hold it, this is how you, you know, and then they're like, how do you know this? Like, oh yeah, I was in the Marines as well. Like, I like that aspect because it's not forced in there, but it works with the story because someone's got to teach them this. It's not like I said, these are everyday people, not the average person doesn't know how to hold like a military grade weapon and use it. So of course you have to have, you know, you have to have people who are, you know, a part of it. I do want to talk about player 390. Of course, rest in peace to player 390, the best friend of player 456, the player who was he was there for him. He, you know, he would hear him cry in his sleep about his mother, and he would be supportive of him. I like when they do the best friend aspect of this, because it's different from because it's a little bit reminiscent of the first season, because in the first season 456's best friend was like jealous of him and he thought he had a better life, but in reality he didn't, and then he had to take him out to win the game. In this one, I like it's a flip of, I'm gonna do everything to protect you, but your friend still perished. That's the thing. It's like, so if you're close to 456, you got to back away. You're gonna go away. You're gonna go away. But I wanted to give a shout out to 390 because I thought it was really, really good. And then in my opinion, a little bit of a sleeper of a character is player 388. I thought he provided a good amount of comedy, being like, yes sir, you know, like, I'll follow you, sir, like, I was also in the military, only for it to come back. I like that because I like, only for it to, you think he's so strong and he can do all this, but when push came to shove and he actually had to do it, he's the way he was holding the gun, the way he was aiming, I was like, bro, it's like you've never picked up a gun before. So it's like only to find out that he only did it really because of his family. So, you know, I think it's just so interesting. And then for him to cower away, you know, of course when we're watching, we're like, this guy's kind of a coward, you know, like, they really need you to get this ammo and you're just cowering in the corner. But it's that PTSD of just hearing everything and knowing like it could be gone at any minute, even though you've been in these games and you could have been gone at any minute in there. But it's nice. It's like you address all these different things that people can go through, and you don't define them by that, because you actually have them as actual characters. The weakest characters are probably the son and the mom. They're the most, you know, predictable, digestible. I would say a lot of people thought and 7.
Did you guys think that 7 left his mom? Now, I've seen a lot of people. Yeah,
that was an interesting take.
I see a lot of people. Yeah, I see a lot of people say like 7 definitely left his mom. You should have fought harder. All this stuff, but it's like there's 2 grown men grabbing him
on the merry-go-round game.
Yeah, they're literally forcing him to come with him. I don't think you guys realize the strength of people who are trying to live can be
with the time limit too.
Exactly. Now granted, and then of course I feel like ultimately it was kind of like how he had came out, because he felt remorseful. He started crying. He felt horrible.
Like, I'm sorry for leaving you. And then
it was just like, but I know a lot of people were literally just like, yeah, because the mom is in denial and tries to protect him and stuff. But I feel like ultimately, to me, I feel like it wasn't ultimately like, I don't feel like it was ultimate betrayal. I don't think that way.
Betrayal.
Because to me, it was just like, hey, like, he was being shoved away by 2 men. They were trying, he was like, we just need one. They kind of got split up just a little bit, because he was like, we just need one, because it was 3. And then 2 men come aggressively grab him. And it's like, what? Okay, and he could have, yes, I guess you could have fought, but guess what? Then him and his mom would, but to me, it's just kind of like there was no way to win in that situation. Okay, exactly. Me and my mom still need one person. We're going to have to kill one of them. Like, one of the men. And how's my mom going to do that?
These
like, or they're gonna kill her. Like,
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, there's 4 of us in here. Guess what? They're gonna murk my mom.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so would that have been a better outcome? You know. But ultimately, she did get saved by 456 and the front man anyway. But it was just like I said. It was just, to me. But also, I feel like the front man gives him plot armor too. But honestly, they could just pretend like with the front man.
Exactly. I just,
that's the only thing I kind of wanted them to lose a game, just because, not for 456 to die, but I did want them to kind of lose a game, because it's like, well then, because really they did have plot armor, because in that game he didn't find someone, and literally they ended up he's like, it's okay, I'll go find someone. 456, he goes, you guys go. Yeah. And it's like, what were you doing?
I wish what happened.
Yeah, and I wish we could have
some secret door.
I wish we could have saw that, because it's like, okay, well, what's he doing? Is he telling them something? Is he telling them, what numbers to, like, I just wish we kind of would have seen that. And then, like how we had said earlier, with 11 being on like the inside of the, like, I'm gonna say the red team, or like the actual shooters, pretty much. It's like, I wanted to know more about her. I really wish they would, like I said, I just wish they would have cut out the military part, just to kind of show more of her.
They didn't dive in, because she was going through some stuff. Like, she was attacked, she was bullied,
she lost a child at some point.
Like,
so
it was a lot for them to go. It was a lot for them to. It was a good introduction, but like we said, this season definitely seems like the bridge. Like, it's the middle, but it's also, I like that it left a lot of loose ends, because it has me desiring, I want to see more of what's on the inside. So hopefully everything you're saying, they do show that in the third season. We'll get to that in a moment, our expectations. But let me go ahead and ask you, what'd you think of these games? They were different. Red light, green light, here and there. That happened, that went. What'd you think of the newer games that were introduced, the two new ones that we saw?
I didn't understand one of them. I don't understand any of them. I didn't understand the rock, paper, scissors -1. I didn't understand this the merry-go-round. I guess straightforward. Hello, it's number. The
merry-go-round is pretty straightforward.
But it's like, but like he had said, whenever, and I knew that was going to happen. We had already guessed it. I was like, there's going to be a time where they do 2, and there's not going to be enough doors. So then you're just going to end up murking more people.
But you really mean you didn't understand, like, the 6-legged race, the 6 legs?
Yeah, I didn't. And
so how each of them had to go through a task. There's 5 of them paired up together, and there's 5 different individual
I can understand it once I started doing it, but it was just like dang. And then, you know what, I want to talk about Little Miss Crazy, Little Miss Witch, because
Little Miss Witch.
Yeah, Little Miss Witch. She's the one that was always sitting at the top of the bed. Yeah.
Player 44. The religious figure.
Yeah, Player 44. Her ass was pissing me off, because she literally always, like, she got mad at them. She got mad at, like, the mom, basically the friend, like, pretty much like the friend group, the mom, the son, and then literally the transgender, and then her friend that ended up dying. Passing. But literally, she was just like, oh, you guys left me. And it's like, baby, no. We saved you already twice. You need to go sit down somewhere and go pray. And that's why I liked how whenever he had slapped her, whenever they were, she had slapped her 120? Yeah, 120. Yeah. She had slapped her, and she was like, okay, you're not gonna, I'll bring you to them or whatever. Whenever she had slapped her and, like, brought her back to reality, like, you're messing us up.
You're gods and religious, essentially, like, like, you pray on these gods, but I'll send you to them essentially, like, they won't even be able to protect you. Like, I'll take you out right now if I have to.
And then, like, that kind of got her together. But ultimately, I was just like, how she was just trying to even flip it. I was like, we're Delulu. We've been in here too long, because, ma'am, the fact that you would even think, like, these people are friends. You are not their friends. You're over there voting to keep playing these games. They're clearly not. They have formed a bond, and you're over here acting like, oh, you guys left me. Girl, nobody left you. Like, nobody left you. And then plus, what were you doing? And really, like I said, they had saved her, because when the merry-go-round first came, and I think it was 5 or something, it was maybe 5 or 6, and the 120 had to go and literally grab her, because she was too busy looking at the statue like an idiot. Exactly, I was just like, frozen. Girl, like, once again, get out of my face. Get out of my face.
Different types of people. My opinion on the 6 Legs episode, where they actually went through the racetrack game, I actually didn't mind that one. It wasn't as entertaining as the Glass Bridge or some of the original ones I saw, but they are new games. I think that it was nice to see. It was nice to see people have specific skills that they were really, really good in, and it showed up. Like we said, like the actual Marine character that we said was cowering. He really showed up in that moment. That was one of the most hype moments I had when they were all together with 456, and I'm like, oh, they're getting it on one try, and then he just kills it. Like he's locked in almost, like he's not missing it. I really like that. Only for the front man to, I'm messing up on the spinning top, and like I said, it's really, really good because they're not going to perish. They're not going to take them out because we got to progress the plot. But I like how a show can still make us go, dang, but what happens if they do? Because they could mess up. They're running out of time right here. I liked it, but I would say that game to me contributed the most. I don't know. It seemed the most brutal because they just, when they didn't get it in the time period, they were just standing there shackled, just gunned down like that. And then it's like, okay, let's bring out the casket. And that's another thing. We didn't even talk about that. When they do bring out the caskets, we got to see that. They mark them, the ones that are still a little bit alive. And then 11 is like, nah, I'm going to take them out because y'all are trying to harvest their organs and whatnot. Like I said, another layer that hopefully they put more, that they address. If they don't, we're gonna hold on to all these layers. We need a lot of answers. We need a lot of questions.
Because I feel like that's something underground. I feel like honestly the front man doesn't even know about that. I really don't think he knows about that, and so they're trying to keep it under wraps so that they can get more money themselves. Because ultimately, it's not like she's making a lot of money.
It could be the other guy, the other guy in the mask who was talking to. It could be like maybe maybe they have different agendas. Like maybe the front man's like, I want to continue the games, and then maybe the other guy in the mask is like, no, I got to do something else. Like, like I'm trying to make my own money a different way. Or
maybe they do make money, but after all the games have concluded or something, and she's just trying, but obviously I feel like she found out about it probably in a way she wasn't supposed to, and then then she was just like, no, like I'm actually gonna,
Exactly. I thought it was interesting, like I said, but going back to the voting, I still did like that they had to. It was kind of like wearing a shame. Like if you press the circle, like it's shame and pride. Like it's like I'm fine with saying that I wanted to keep playing like one more game, and then other people like, well, I'm gonna make sure that we can turn these people over, and like, oh my God, we'll need to get like 3 or 4 more people. Like those moments of tension were good because it's like it's a decision. Do you want to play again? And then to see people who didn't want to play before, now you want to keep playing because you realize people are going, or oh, if you perish, that's some more money in my pocket. Or like people who are like, okay, I played enough games. Like I've played enough games now. This is disgusting.
And guys,
this is messing with my moral code.
They gave them forks, and 333, first one to mark.
And I loved it how 456
and then 456 already knew. He was just like, oh, they actually gave us something now. Brutal. This is like, God. And then it was funny because that's when the front man actually told 456 like, oh, I guess some of us will have to die, because he had created this elaborate plan to take over them, but we're gonna have to hide. We're gonna have to take some. Yeah, we're gonna have to take. But it was the front man basically saying, we're doing the same thing right now. Exactly. What you're doing, what you're showing me, is exactly what I've been doing with these games. Like
sacrificing the few for the many.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like a military approach. Like you gotta have pawns, you gotta have people on the front line, you gotta have people who are willing to go because they're weaker or because they don't know really the plan as it is. But I do think they see these people as vermin though. Like you guys are like below. You guys couldn't stop. You guys couldn't make better of yourself. You just kept going until you're in this deep hole to where you're willing to kill people to get your money. So that's ultimately like, it sucks, but it's ultimately the truth though. Like what will you do for that dollar? Exactly. And I do think that this is something we need to address with it specifically. I think that for me specifically, for it to be put in a cinematic way like this is good because it does address a lot of capitalistic issues, as well as how the governments run, as well as the morality of people. What are you willing to do for the dollar? But it is very distasteful when you see YouTubers and even Netflix going, oh, let's do it in real life. It's like, no. It's like you missed the point. You missed the point of this, because when we saw the Netflix version of it, the people, it's like even if the producers told them to act out a little bit more, I don't even think they will. I think this is legitimately people who actually were willing to do whatever for it. And it really did show that it's like by the time Squid Game is over, people are really going to miss the point of what it was, which is we shouldn't have so many people in poverty to where they have to put themselves through a life and death game to get out of it, just to get by, or just to feel like they can be a part of society. But instead, it's about entertainment. Let's do anything for entertainment. But let's go ahead and get on to the acting and performances. We went on to a couple of them. In my opinion, I think that 456 and 1, they are great together. Their dialogue was so strong. It really felt like looking in a mirror. It felt like every time they wanted to address something, they addressed it. The moments of silence, the facial expressions are really strong. I really, really liked it. I will say that that the detective was really underutilized. You're right. He really shouldn't have been in here. It didn't even get to show his acting ability. He really felt misplaced. Like, it felt like, could we have waited to see all this? Because it didn't. It just felt like dry. Like, it just felt like, okay. Like, every time we saw the boat, I was like, I don't want to see this.
Yeah,
let's move on. Let's move on. It doesn't really matter. It's not that important. But like I said, my favorite character was the transgender. And shout out to Thanos. I thought that he was, like I said, it's entertaining. He's wacky, and him taking the little. I think it's ironic that he put the little tablets in a cross. I thought that would, like I said, little themes that you can see. It's like you'll bring a cross because you want protection from your God, but you're willing to put drugs in there to numb what you're going through. There's layers to this sort of thing.
I don't even think he brought I think he just used a cross probably to like this
probably
I'm probably thinking too deep, but probably just to be like, oh, you guys can't take this from me. This is my cross. This is like for my religion, but ultimately no, I just want to hide drugs in here.
It's a front. It's a front of like, I'm this, I'm with religion, but it's like, no, because when you're desperate to get through these tough times, you're not going to do them sober. You're willing to drug yourself to get through it, which did provide some very funny moments. Like I said, complete dichotomy shift of the first time we saw red light, green light, and everybody's scared, to seeing a dude dancing, and then also he pushed people over. Cool. Like I said, cool for you to push people over. And then in the merry-go-round game, just like dancing and chilling, like having fun in it, and then even bringing the other guy into it, but then leading to the blue team, blue took out one of the red people, and then that whole fight scene in the bathroom, it got brutal. Like I said, it really got brutal and messy. And I will say that those were some of the better moments, and I'm glad that he didn't make it the whole way through because he didn't deserve to. But like I said, I think the acting was really, really strong here. Stronger than the first season because of the anticipation of what we wanted to see. And I really do hope the best for these people. But like I said, 456, shout out to Lee Jong-jae. He is really good. His facial expressions are great. It's funny that the first picture of the first episode of Squid Game is him smiling, and in this one he's just like, oh God, like, you don't want to, because it's like you don't know what you already know what you're getting into. But what do you think about the acting and performances, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up, give the rating and our expectations for season 3.
That I really don't have anything really else to say. I don't really think any of these shows ever because it's Korean, right?
Yeah.
All of these Korean actors know what they're doing, and I think it's probably because we expect so little being Americans, but not from them, but just in terms of our own actors and actresses sometimes. But they do phenomenal all the time. They always pull, like I said, they know how to pull your heartstrings, but also I feel like it also encapsulates probably their writing room as well. They know what they can draw people in. They know what's enticing. They know how to do it tastefully. They know how to write characters. They do. They're really, really good at it. They've done it with so many films and like shows that we've seen. So I don't have any like complaints or anything about the acting and performance. I think everyone played their role exactly how they were supposed to. Some people you like, some people you don't. Some people, are annoying. Some people are like, oh, whatever. The mom and son, they played their roles fine. Being timid, mom always protecting him. The trans showed like, that how strong she can be, and the
baby daddy being a coward and not being a part of it.
Exactly, and then saying like, oh, like still trying to sell crypto even in these games, still not even learning. And that's why the front man, it goes to show so much that it's just like these people don't have morality to save anymore. They're here. Like that's what and I think like that's ultimately like amazing to show, because it's like, what will you do for this money? And it's sad to see how many people, like, you just saw people die brutally, and you're just like, well, that's not gonna pay off my debt. I don't really care. Like I can see right. But it's just like, it sucks. It just sucks, like, seeing how people can be so cruel. And it's just like, and even 456 is saying, like, you guys are gonna die, like, you know, there's only gonna be one of you standing, you're like, you know. And then they're like, well, did you actually get the money though? Like, that's what I want to know. I don't care. Did you get the money? Like, you know, why are you back here?
Yeah, shout out to that bigger guy who was really antagonistic.
I ultimately knew from this, I was like, it's not gonna go how he wants it, because if he tells people, they're gonna use him, and if he doesn't tell people, then they're gonna think that you're a traitor of some sort. So it's like, you can't win in these scenarios, because like I said, and even when they did find out that he knew, they're like, oh, well, what's next? And he was having those nightmares. What if I tell everyone to do triangle, because that's the easiest, you know, with the game where they have to do the cookies, like they have to carve out the cookies. He was like, what if because that was just a dream that wasn't in this one.
Oh, that was a good scene.
Yeah, but it was just like, he's like, now I got all these people killed. I can't be, he can't be that hero he wants to be, because of the people he's trying to save.
Exactly.
And ultimately, that's what, like I said, him and the front man are like I said, there's so much alike, because he's trying to get rid of these people. In terms of, you know, like how, like he said, he looks at them as vermin, like they're beneath us. Like, all they do is just rack up all these debts, and then they want to, at the end of the day, they'll kill people to like get themselves probably right back in here. And it's sad to see, but it's like I said, it's the acting and performance. Like I said, the writers know how to write these people, and they definitely know how to cast these people. So it's like, I don't know if it's phenomenal acting or if it's just phenomenal writing, but it's probably both.
They go hand in hand. I think they go hand in hand very well together.
But there are some good actors though that have bad scripts, and then it's like, you look a mess now, like it's the bad script. But sometimes you can see,
and there are some great scripts that the actors just do not know how to
portray,
get the character across for. But I think that in this one, if they were making a comparison, I think that the characters in this one, I think they really stepped up. I think that the side characters really stepped up to the point to where it is a whole group project. It did not feel like it was 456 and the front man and then everybody else. Everyone felt good. You can't, I mean, don't even forget his best friend who did perish at the end. Remember, he ended up 390. Yeah, he ended up. Remember his emotional reaction to, you know, I chose circle this one time because I wanted to play a little more, and then he had to go back because he's thinking in himself like, I'm sorry for that, you know. But it's like, but it's human. Like, it's that human nature of, but if I do press circle, then I would be able to get a little bit more money, and then I get out a little bit more debt. It's nice that they have. It's nice that they have those. But like I said, let's go ahead and get on to the rating, and then we'll tell you guys our quick thoughts on season, on what we would like for the next season. We ended up giving Squid Game season 2 a solid A. We ended up giving it an A. Still good, still amazing. This thing was never going to be, you know, even though you said mid, you know, I think mid's a strong word. I think you got to be careful.
No, I didn't say mid. I said mid, that's why I said it's not mid.
Okay.
But it wasn't as brutal and as spontaneous as it was when we saw it in 2020. Imagine we're all at home, we're bored.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It was so shocking. This one is not as shocking, but it's still just as good. It's just a different route of good. It's trying to plot points right now.
You've seen crazier stuff in real life than this in between season 1 and season 2.
Yeah,
but it's been good. But let's go ahead and just, like we said, my thoughts on season 3. I really want to see behind the scenes. We want
more
of the
red
actual
people.
Games. Yes, we want to see. I want to see them get into their own fight. I just want to see someone in the organization. I kind of want to see 11 put together her own faction and or team up with 456 so that she's on their team so that they can take out the front man. And I do want to see specifically, I hope they do it, I want to see 388 redeem himself, because that's a really bad way to go out.
I'm calling it now. Mama's gonna die for the girl, for 222. She's gonna die for her.
She'll go for her son for sure. Yeah, she'll perish for her son.
No, her son is 7. 222 is the pregnant lady. She's gonna go for her. That's why I said her, not
7,
him.
I think 7's gonna. I think the son's gonna give his life up for his mom.
And then the mom's going to give up her life for 222. I'm calling it, like I said, I'm pretty sure she's going to give up her life for 222. It
goes their bloodline.
I just know that's like, I just have an inkling, because she's so like, and really, you know, the bathroom scene whenever she was like crying because she's like in here, you know, and like they don't even know, like, you know, that was actually really sad to see.
She's very motherly for her.
Yeah, it was really sad to see though, because she's like, how did I get in this position? And like, now I'm here, I'm pregnant, my baby dad's in here too. Fuck my baby dad. So it's just like, it's so sad to see, because it's like, this is where she has end up, and like she has this, nice spirit next to her, obviously the mom, that's like, saying like, I'm here, I got you, anything you need, like, I've given, I've delivered babies before in my time, so it's okay, like whatever you need, you need to take it easy, you need to eat more. She's giving her food. 388, I do feel bad for him. He was supposed to get ammo. He was scared. I do hope we get a backstory in terms of him, just because because I know he's gonna die. You're definitely gonna die. But I do hope to get like a backstory as to why you felt the need to, like, kind of put on this brave front. And I think it's kind of, his story has kind of already been written, because he was so good at the games that they say most girls are good at. And because whenever they were in the 6 legs, they were all like, oh, aren't girls good at that game that he was great at? And it was like, he was like, oh, I had sisters and stuff. It's like, maybe that wasn't true. Maybe, we might be getting a little like Fruity of the Rainbow. We might have some of that going on. Yeah. I mean, we might, because maybe he felt so ashamed, that's looked down upon by so many things. And, now maybe he's coming into the realization that, I did like doing girly things, or what they count as girly things, because a lot of things are, gender fluid anyway. But it's just like, like the man had said, like his Marine brother or whatever, how he had literally said, oh, most girls are good at that, and it's like, and he was amazing at it. So it's just like, maybe I hope, like, they tie him well together. But, and I do appreciate how, the trans, she didn't try to go at 120. She didn't try to go at him and be like, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you get the ammo? She didn't do all that. She was like, I'm on a mission. I need to get back. Yeah, she was like, I need to get back. Where is it? It's on the floor. Okay, I need to go. And then like how the mom had to stop her and be like, no, you're not gonna die this way.
You're gonna go out this way.
You're not like, it's not worth it.
How she actually will go out. But I do think 120 will probably make us the end. I do not think we're gonna get one winner.
120 is definitely gonna die.
I do not think we're gonna get a single winner in the game. I do think that they are gonna play another game. They're gonna make it seem, it might, the third season could start off with them knocked out, thrown back in there, and then it's like, dang, we just got to do this next game, and then let's find a stronger plan. How can we get closer to the actual office door? But I do think 120 will make it. I do think but if anybody did win the game, I would be rooting for the pregnant girl to end up winning it. And the baby daddy, he can perish, he can go, he can sacrifice himself for them. That would be nice. That would be nice. But we will see. But still intriguing. Like I said, still intriguing.
I think they're gonna make him more cruel. I think he's gonna end up putting her up to save himself.
Crazy.
I think they're gonna make him more and more
like
cruel.
That, just from the stab in the. I mean, hey, the almighty dollar speaks. We'll see. Because
he's like, if I get rid of her and my child, because remember how he was even talking to her. I want to get rid of our debts. Our debts? No, these are your debts. Yeah. I'm trying to make a life for me and my child. And then how he was trying to even pair up with her. I think ultimately at the end, I feel like toward the end, he's definitely going to backstab her so that he could be like, I can get rid of her. I can get rid of the child. I don't have to worry about that. Now I can just do all this, spend.
Exactly.
Get in more debt. Yep. So.
And ultimately, just to finish off, we have to see 456 in the front man's battle one-on-one. Can't wait to see that. That's going to be really, really good. The reveal of it is going to be really, really good. And who knows, maybe 456 has one last trick up his sleeve. And hopefully you give more screen time and you can redeem all the boat stuff with the detective. Hopefully they can find the island. Please do not just pick them off easily, because I hope that he actually shows up, because who knows, maybe that will be the really big reveal of like, wow, that is my brother. Like, and maybe that'll not change the front man, but maybe that'll be the distraction of the front man seeing his brother for 456 to take him out. Hopefully, we just don't know, because at the end of the day, I'm like, the front man, you've ruined a lot.
And shout out to 380. She was cool too. Like I said, she was just like, she was in there, she was just trying to get some money. She goes, hey, I have worse things waiting outside for me than in here. So she was real about it. Like I said, unfortunately, you were just in a bad group, you were
betrayed by that.
Betrayed. I mean, he tried to help, being a little coochie at the end. He tried to help, but not really. 125, he didn't really help.
But on that merry-go-round game when she reached her hand out to come to be like, follow me, him playing it like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah,
like,
-1, yeah.
Man. I'm like, but like I said, those
he was
were
a
really,
coward,
really
and
moments.
that's why they wanted to show you wouldn't betray me, and then it's like, oh, just for him to literally do it in the next game.
Exactly.
And then she ended up dying by literally them forks. So that was a mess.
Like I said, just brutal. But we wanted to give you guys our thoughts on Squid Game Season 2. It was still very, very entertaining. We gave it an A for amazing. We can't wait for the third season. Hopefully it comes out, I believe, in the next couple of years, and we don't have to wait too long. Hopefully it comes out in the next year or two. But take your time with the writers, and don't drag it too long. I think that you can wrap this up in about one more season. And give us 9 to 10 episodes. I think 7 was a little bit.
And please don't split it up. Don't do 5.
Don't split it up. Don't do any of that. But who knows? If Netflix knocking on the door and they want to do it, they'll end up doing it. But yeah, those are our thoughts on Squid Game Season 2. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, make sure to
like, comment,
and subscribe to the Zay's World channel. Stay in tune with everything on there. Give us suggestions. Let us know what you want to see us review throughout the year. And we will see you guys next time.